day, everyone. My name is Rita, and I have a quick and fun method to make. It is called the No Waste Flying Geese technique. I'd like to share it with you today in our brand new Take 5 technique segment. Are you ready to get started? Before you begin, you need to figure out what finish size you need. You will notice that no matter how wide you want your flying geese to be, the height will always be half the length. This way, if you sew two of them together, it will become a square. For example, if you want your flying geese to be 4 inches wide, it will be 2 inches tall. If you want your flying geese to be 5 inches wide, it'll be 2.5 inches tall, and so on. What I really love about this technique is that not only is it easy, but you don't waste fabric. Many quilters frown upon wasting scraps of fabric. Personally, I'm okay tossing out a few cut corners, but if I can find a no-waste method like this, I'm all in. Also, this method does not make you sew on a cut bias that has a tendency to curve and become distorted. Nope, you'll be sewing on a full square. As you can see, the flying geese flock uses 2 different colors of fabric. The main center part is the one color, and the other 2 corner triangles are the second color. So gather up your fabrics and get ready to cut out 5 squares. Squares, you might ask? Aren't the corners triangles? Yes, but there's a trick to achieving this flashy flying geese technique. You only need to cut 1 large square and 4 small squares. Just gather these up right here. Here, four small squares. There you go. From the handy PDF chart we put in the description below, go ahead and find the finished size of the block you want to be. Then look on your size here, whichever size you want. Look to the left and choose the large square size that corresponds with it. Cut out 1 square and then choose the next on the same line. You need to cut out 4 of these small squares here. The large square in the middle is going to be your center part, and the 4 cut squares on the other side are going to be the triangle corners. Once we have all these cut out nice and accurately, we can start placing them the way they need to go on the big square and start sewing. My favorite part. So we're going to place them like this. We're going to, right sides together. Always put right sides together. You want to have it on the corner like this. And the other one like this. Just so they're nice and neatly on the squares here. Now I've already pre-cut my squares to save time. I want my flying geese blocks to measure 2 inches tall and 4 inches wide. Okay, so now here we have the large square, which measures 5¼ inches, and the 4 small squares that measure 2 7/8 of an inch. We place these 2 small squares on top of the big square in opposite corners, like I did here, where they're all nicely lined up. The very tips of the corners on the small squares will overlap, and that's okay because they're supposed to, like this right here. Don't worry about that. Next, we're going to draw a line going right through the center of the small square, going corner to corner. I'm just going to grab my ruler here. You can use any kind of rulers you want. There's many different ones on the market to do that. You know what, actually, I'm going to take this one here. This one is a 1/2 inch ruler. It has a line down the middle, and then there's a 1/4 inch on each side. So I can just put it right on the center here. Just make sure that the lines meet up. The corner is right on the center. The corner is right on the center here. So I know it's going to be a 1/4 inch this way and a 1/4 inch that way. And I'm just going to draw this line like that. Whoops, get my pen to work. There we go. And I'm going to just do it on the other side as well. Just like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this to our machine and we're going to stitch down these purple lines that I just drew on here. So I just go here. And these lines, we know that they are 1/4 inch, so I'll fit there. We don't have to worry about it. I just pull mine around. Don't even cut the thread. And yeah. Okay, so we can remove these pins. And what we're going to do is we're just going to give it a quick press because I like to press as I go. So before we do that, before we cut anything, I'm just going to press these down. Sets the stitches. That's what I've always been taught, so that's what I do. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to cut it right down the middle. So I'm going to put my ruler corner to corner. So this is touching the very corner there, touching the very corner here. Take my rotary cutter. Whoops. And I'm going to, you know what? That didn't work very well. So I'm just going to use scissors. Honestly, it doesn't really matter because this is just your shape. No one's going to see it anyway. Then what you want to do is you want to take these, and these are your little corners. You're going to flip them up like this. You're going to flip it up like this, and you're going to give it a little press. Oops. Like so. I know you're thinking this doesn't resemble a flying geese block that you've heard of. It resembles more of a heart. See? More of a heart. We're getting there though. I'm telling you. We're just going to do that to the other one here. We're just going to flip these up. Normally, so just to tell you, normally you would flip to the dark side and that would be the red. But the way this block goes, you actually do have to just flip it up and press to the lighter side. Just because I've chosen the lighter side to be white, the corner triangle blocks to be white, that's why. So there you go. So now we have these here. Looks nothing like a flying geese block yet, but here we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the other two squares and we're going to put it on the corner. So on this corner here. So we're just going to line it up so it's nice and even with this corner right here. Do that with this one as well. Might as well do the two at a time. And where's my ruler? We're going to take this ruler and we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're going to match the center line to the corner of the point and this center line to this corner, and we're just going to outline it just like this. Oops. Let's draw that like that. So now you have a line that looks like that. And we are going to sew along these lines right here. Just do that to this one here as well. This is going so fast, you're going to just be amazed at how fast you can make all these flying geese. You can make a whole big quilt. Depends on how big you want your flying geese block to be. These make a nice border, or sew them in a row, and you can have like a row quilt. They're pretty cool. So I'm just going to take them now, and you'll notice that I'm flipping it. I'm not going to sew this way. I'm not going to sew this way. I'm going to sew from the bottom up. Oops, just get my triangles there, or my corners lined up again because they went out of place. See, this is where I should pin, right? So here we go. So I'm just going to pin for you. And here we go. We're just going to sew down these lines once again. And I'm just going to pivot and sew down. And since we got another one here, might as well just do quickly this one as well. So just sew and pivot. These go together so that. Okay, so now we have these blocks here. This is what they look like. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to cut them right down the middle. Just going to use my scissors because, like I said, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be super straight, even. There you go. So this is where the magic happens. We're going to flip this over like this. Give it a little press. Can you see it? Can you see it happening? There's your flying geese block, just like that. And you've actually made 4 of them. Just going to give them a quick press here just to show you. They just go, and you haven't wasted any fabric at all. None. So you've literally used all the fabric you have. You've made it in record time, and you can get that quilt done super fast. So there you go. So you could put them together. So see, if you put them together like this, they become a square. You just have to trim off these dog ears here. Just trim off the dog ears so you get the full effect. Right? There you go. So there. So if you put two of them together like that, they become a square. You could put them together like this as well if you wanted to. And then it kind of is like a square and a square type of thing. You could put them together in a row like this, that, and like that. And you could just keep going and make a row quilt. Like I said, this makes a great border. So yeah, there you go. How easy was that? So as a recap, I have some samples here, so we'll just quickly show you. So first of all, we have our big square that's going to be the background square, and we put the two little squares on it like this. They are going to overlap, and that's okay. Don't worry. Then we drew a line down the center here, and we stitched a 1/4 inch on each side. Let's get my stiletto. So we stitch a 1/4 inch on each side of the center line. Then we cut those two apart. And we press them up towards the top. So now they actually look like little hearts. After that, we added the second square and do the center line here. Here is the stitching, a 1/4 inch on each side. We sewed those. And then here we are, we cut them apart. And this is what they look like now. So, whoops, just get those here, here. I did press them open, but they decided to stay closed. And there you go. These are the flying geese that we made, those 4 flying geese. And that took, what, 5 minutes of your time? And you didn't waste any fabric? Kind of a win-win, right? Thank you for watching. And if you liked what you saw, please click the subscribe button to be notified of more fun things to come. See you next time. Happy sewing.